Mountain News this morning, the Senate Minority Leader made his way to the Commonwealth to talk democracy. And the Biden-Harris administration made their first public appearance since Biden left the race to talk health care.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 5:30 this Friday morning. Happy Friday, everyone. And my fingers are crossed for some super happy weekend weather. So let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast.
Okay, one hand or two, doubly crossed, right? 70 degrees outside our door here at WYMT, and temps for the most part mid and upper 60s into the low 70s. The hot spots right now being Jackson and Prestonsburg, as well as Monticello, right around 74, 75. The pinpoint Doppler radar showing our area rainfall heaviest around 75 just to the west as you make your way back toward Waynesburg and just northeast of Somerset. This continues to track along and north of the Hal Rogers. It'll track south of the Mountain Parkway, getting closer and more heavier, or at least heavier that is, as you make your way toward Boonville and getting into Manchester as we head toward the top of the hour. There are some breaks in the clouds, and we will see breaks in the clouds as we head through the day on your Friday. So breaks of sunshine, muggy, showers, scattered thunderstorms, and a forecast high this afternoon with those breaks up to 84 in Hazard. More about your ARH First Alert 7-day forecast as we rock and roll through this half hour. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. Governor Andy Beshear hosted a Team Kentucky update yesterday and announced some big news for flood-affected counties here in the mountains. WYMT's Austin Hicks has the latest.
Since 2022, many people in eastern Kentucky have faced hardship after hardship. From the devastating flood of July 2022 to as recently as the Memorial Weekend storms that impacted several counties. To help people in those communities, Governor Beshear announced that several communities will receive funding to help those impacted.
Less than a month after the floods, I called for a special legislative session to help speed up the recovery. I was proud to work with the legislature and grateful the General Assembly appropriated $212 million to the Eastern Kentucky State Aid for Emergencies, or EK SAFE Fund.
Breathitt County received more than $3 million in funding. During the briefing, Beshear made a surprising announcement, introducing the start of a nearly $50 million project of KY-15, as well as strengthening and stabilizing the dam that holds Panbowl Lake.
This is a heavily traveled corridor that will bring much anticipated improvements and enhanced safety and economic benefits for Breathitt County and for Eastern Kentucky. It's going to add lanes and sidewalks to the busy stretch of road that is in Jackson, but it also further strengthens and stabilizes the dam that holds Panbowl Lake.
With several counties receiving funds from the SAFE Fund, county officials are excited about the progress they will make with the funding.
There's a long way to go. There's a long way to go, but when you see us get these funds, you'll see us start doing more FEMA work to help people get back to where they need to be.
The governor also provided updates regarding relief efforts in Eastern Kentucky.
We've now announced 7 high ground communities in 4 counties. Together, these communities will bring over 500 new homes to the area. And on top of that, we've announced a bunch in Breathitt County and are finding new spots of land every day to build more.
Governor Beshear also announced the launch of the Disaster Needs Portal, which people can use to help apply for housing and help after a disaster has struck. In Hazard, Austin Hicks, WYMT Mountain News.
During the briefing, Beshear announced Floyd County will receive $2.5 million, Perry County will receive $5 million, and Letcher County will receive more than $5 million. More than $8 million is being invested into rural parts of the state. The funding comes from the USDA Rural Development and Appalachian Regional Commission. The City of Hazard is using multiple grants, and those grants will be used for different things. Some of those include replacing a 70-year-old cast iron water line to make improvements to the primary sanitary sewer outfall in downtown. We have much more about this at WYMT.com. Sleeping in public has now been a crime in Kentucky for 1 month. The Safer Kentucky Act took effect July 15th. One of the homeless people it's affecting is Mama D, who has been living on the streets of Louisville since March. She says when the law took effect, she had to leave the downtown area because there was not enough shelter space. Now she's trekking 40 minutes to find a place to sleep.
I've had to go somewhere to where I'm not around resources, just for my safety. We need to work harder on this and make it to where we're all equal. I've had a home job and all that stuff. I'm just having a hard time.
Louisville has issued 10 citations and made 4 arrests for public camping in the past month. Lexington police say they handed out 10 citations and responded to 33 unlawful camping calls within just 4 days under the law. The United States Court of Appeals has denied a motion filed by a man to suppress evidence related to a search of his vehicle. The incident stems from September 2021 in Wayne County when a joint undercover operation met Troy Huff in a grocery parking lot on East Kentucky Highway 90 for a controlled purchase of illegal narcotics. Huff pleaded guilty to federal charges in 2022. The case now will return to the U.S. Eastern District Court of Kentucky for final sentencing. A teenager from Greenup County in northeastern Kentucky has died in a shooting in Columbus, Ohio. Skylar Burley is accused of shooting and killing 17-year-old Gage Anderson in a road rage incident. Police say 30-year-old Burley was arrested and charged with murder. Anderson was a recent graduate of Greenup County High School. A man was indicted in Clay County after police say he took a picture of a naked child. A grand jury indicted James Hayes with 1 count of promoting a sexual performance by a minor under the age of 18 and sexual abuse of a minor under the age of 12. The first count says Hayes took a photo of the child without her knowledge with a hidden camera inside a home in 2022. The second count says Hayes committed sexual abuse by touching the child when she was between the ages of 11 and 12. A former pastor has been indicted on 7 felony counts. A Fayette County grand jury indicted Zachary King on counts which include rape, sodomy, sexual abuse. King was arrested last month. According to the arrest citation, he admitted to having a sexual relationship with a victim, which started when she was 15 years old. A Magoffin County man was in court for his arraignment on Thursday. Jeremiah Brown pleaded not guilty to charges related to an arrest after an argument about a toaster pastry. Brown was indicted earlier this year. Brown's then girlfriend claimed he assaulted her at home after an argument. Brown's public defender requested a bond reduction, but the judge ruled against it. In Mingo County, West Virginia, a woman is facing child neglect charges after police found drugs in a home with a 10-year-old living there. Reba Chaffins was arrested by Mingo County deputies after giving deputies permission to search the home during a welfare check. Deputies say they found syringes that appeared to be loaded in the kid's bedroom and a white powder substance they say is consistent with fentanyl. Chaffins was taken to the Southwestern Regional Jail. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell was at the U.S. Global Leadership Coalition South Summit in Louisville Thursday. Senator McConnell was joined by Ashley Watts, the president and CEO of the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce, and several others. One of the things Senator McConnell was asked about was isolationism. He says the U.S. must continue to remain in a leadership position and that the country is an example of what every other democratic nation aspires to be.
As I said earlier, we are the example that every democratic country in the world wants to emulate. Good things will happen as long as we're in the leadership position. Isolationism will create enormous problems for this country, enormous.
Senator McConnell will step down as Republican leader later this year, but has 2 years left on his term as senator. Newly announced price drops on 10 Medicare drugs could be just the start of more affordable prescriptions. The Biden administration says Medicare now has the power to negotiate such prices, not just this year, but in the years to come. Amy Kiley reports on what that could mean for your health and wallet.
We then took those 10 drugs, did negotiations, dropped the price.
10 Medicare prescription drug prices are set to come down in 2026, and dozens more could eventually follow.
These were drugs that Congress essentially gave us the direction on how to select them. They're the 10 most expensive drugs in the Medicare program.
They cover conditions like diabetes, heart failure, and cancer. The Biden administration says the new prices will save the federal government $6 billion and save seniors $1.5 billion. Those figures don't factor in some existing rebates and discounts, so the final numbers could be lower. Drug companies are suing over the negotiations, and pundits have varying opinions of them.
They say, okay, making this drug that I need less expensive, that helps me. That helps, as my family's planning our family budget.
It's like standing outside of a house on fire with a bucket that's half full.
The Inflation Reduction Act is what's empowering the negotiations. It contains a timeline that allows dozens more in the years to come. The Congressional Budget Office says negotiations could save $100 billion over a decade.
This is the first time in history we got to negotiate to lower the price of prescription medication in the Medicare program. We can do it. We'd like to do it for more.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
HHS Secretary Xavier Becerra says he wishes he had the power to negotiate non-Medicare drug costs too. But for now, the scope is limited to that program. Just ahead, we take a look at a new AI picture tool that results flooded users' X feeds.
And on the Pinpoint Doppler radar this morning, it is already active. How does this end up playing out the rest of your Friday? We'll let you know. Your first alert 7-day forecast is coming up as your WYMT Mountain Morning News continues.